need what?
Can I get some reverb? I just really need some reverb. Like, I can't work without reverb.
So, the way I like to do it, it's like going to be really informal. Well, are you taking a selfie right now?
I was about to take a Snapchat selfie. Gotta make sure my hair looks good in the headphones.
Oh yeah.
How do I look over here?
Yeah.
Doing all right?
Your voice sounds great, by the way.
Oh, good. It sounds funny to me in my head. Well, in the headphones, not my actual head.
Not your actual head?
No.
No. Oh, here, for some reason I had a click trap going right now.
Yeah, I heard it very...
Did you hear it?
A little bit.
Yeah. So, yeah, we just go really informal.
Okay.
Just chilling.
All right.
We just had an amazing...
Bomb meal.
A
paleo fiesta.
Right.
As you put it.
And you're super paleo.
Am I super paleo?
Yeah. You're one of the only other people that I know.
Really?
That is like... Here, all I see is like the microphone in front of your face.
Peeking over, like meerkatting over.
I literally just see no bangs today, but if you did, I would just be like, bangs.
They're there. They're in the bag.
Yeah.
My bangs are in the bag. I don't know if I'll wear them tonight, though.
So, well, Kelly, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Finally.
The Future E.D.O. podcast.
E.D.O.? What is that?
Yeah. Everyone asks that. So, Future E.D.O. Future because just we like the word future. Mm-hmm. But no, really, it's the future of entertainment. Uh-huh. Dialogue.
Okay.
And we're still working on the O.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So maybe you can help us do that. One day we'll figure out what the O is. 100 episodes in, we'll be like, we finally know what O means.
Uh-huh. So I just have to find the O.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, really informal. We're chilling on it by a bed.
Yes.
It helps absorb the sound.
Oh,
which you know about.
I do,
because you used to be...
I mean, you keep saying like I'm some expert on sound and engineering, but I probably don't remember like even a tenth of what I learned. And I was top of my class. Like I was hot shit then. I don't know.
You're hot shit now, Kel.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just so the audience knows, I have a hot Latina chick in Studio B.
Studio B.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
drinking tequila and coffee.
Drinking tequila and coffee.
Because she's not crazy enough on her own.
Right. Because we're getting ready to go to this
Above and Beyond
concert.
Acoustic though.
Right.
So I'm sure if anyone's into EDM, they'll know or at least have heard of Above and Beyond, and they're actually pretty cool. They're very like melodic and kind of trancey, which is why I like them. But they're doing a full-on acoustic set. They're actually pretty crazy good musicians. Like I think they have a full or partial orchestra.
Yeah. It's gonna be like that Yanni thing. Yanni live at the Acropolis, except with young hip guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw two girls walking up the hill when we were on Highland, and they looked kind of in raver gear. I'm really curious the attire that we're gonna see tonight.
because they're people that know them for their sort of 100%. Electronic dance,
like
stuff,
Plur,
right?
like all that. I should have brought my candy. I didn't even think about it. I've got candy bracelets.
Oh, really?
You know what candy is, right?
Is that a drug?
No, it's like the beads, the raver beads, those bracelets.
No, I don't remember that. No, really? When I was in the scene, I don't think we had. I just remember lollipops were a thing, and girls would wear like the backpacks.
Well, yeah, that's yeah. Well, okay, so the candy, like you get the beads, and you literally before each rave, you'll sit there and make them. So every time I went to EDC, I've got it in my kitchen, sitting in my little arts and crafts thing. You can sit there and you make it, and you add whatever beads, spell whatever you want. You can say EDC, your crew name, whatever. But yeah, so they stack them on their wrist, and what you do when you exchange candy with someone, it's peace, love, unity, respect. So like you go to
what the plur is, right?
So you go you get your two like peace sign fingers, say like peace to each other, and you put your fingers together, right? And then you make a heart for the love, and then you do unity and you hold hands, and then respect, like you swap bracelets as you're linked, like you like trade. So it's like a trading thing. It's really cool, actually. You're
such a raver.
I am, actually.
You know all this shit. You know the secret handshake.
For sure, yeah.
All of it.
You should see me at a rave. It's pretty funny. Like I definitely am like a raver kid at heart, and I don't think many people would guess that just seeing me walk down the street.
You'd be the hottest raver I've ever seen.
You know what's funny? I guess there's like a thing where you can get a Raver name, like an official Raver name. You're supposed to do it on your first one.
What, do you get it on your birth certificate?
No, it's like basically you're technically high and someone watches you, like how you act at a rave. And they're supposed to, okay, let me try and explain this properly. A friend is supposed to get a stranger to do it for you, but they're supposed to do it unbeknownst to you. You know what I mean? So if I'm just like in a trance rave, like, well, whatever, like drifting off into space, minding my own business. And then one of my friends is like, hey, like it's her first rave. Can you pick her name? And then they watch you and like by the way you move or something, like they give you a name. And then like that's your Raver name.
Oh, so it's like a tribal thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, some people get like Joker, some people get like Grizzly Bear, Wolf, whatever.
It's starting to sound like jail names. Hey, Joker.
Hey, puppet. Little puppet.
Hey, puppet.
So I got mine, but mine's boring.
What's yours?
Beautiful.
Come on, Kel.
That's lame.
Beautiful.
Like, of all the names, like, okay, so I'm sitting there dancing, like, oh, beautiful. I'm like, that's what you came up with?
It should just be Hot Raver Chick.
No.
That should be your name.
So on that note also, there's an Instagram called Rave Booty, and it's pretty funny. So, you know.
Oh, you have to be on that.
I want to be. Like, I'm not on there yet. But
you want your booty to be on the...
Absolutely.
Is it just all the Raver girls and their booties?
So, I mean, you've seen the Raver wear where they're like in the little tutus or the little boy shorts. Like, there's butt cheeks out everywhere, right? Like, you're high
I like butt cheeks.
Yeah, I know. You know, you're rolling your balls off and you're hot, whatever. Like, you want to be wearing, like, cute, minimal clothing. So it's every single picture is just booty. Like girls and showing their butt at raves, like either like on shoulders.
What's this called?
Or like Rave Booty.
.com?
It's Instagram. So it's...
Oh, it's Instagram.
Yeah, okay. Rave Booty.
Ravebooty.org.
No.
.gov.
No. .gov. It would be. No. Just Rave Booty. You should look it up. You'd like it. Mm-hmm.
No, I would like that. Yeah. But
so one of my life goals is to get on Rave Booty.
All right. Work on it. What would you wear? What would be your... What would be your booty outfit?
I'm pretty simple. I don't do the tutus or the furry boots or anything like that. I'm not into that at all. I don't even like the bedazzled bras. I'm actually...
So you don't like to look like Cheech on Up in Smoke?
I don't know.
When they're at the Viper Room. The very last part of the movie.
I don't think I've seen
You don't remember that?
I don't think I've seen it.
Oh, you got to watch Up in Smoke. Anyway.
I actually go pretty athletic because like I want to be comfortable. I jump and dance around a lot.
You jump?
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that a weird thing?
Right.
Would you not jump? Like if there's a sick drop, you're like, yeah, you're like jumping up and down. Like it's a workout. Right. Raves are a workout. You're there for like 6 hours. If it's EDC, you're there sundown to sunrise, just jumping, running, dancing straight.
You know, I gotta say, I was definitely in the scene. I wasn't like the beginning of the people that started raves. Right. I mean, I think that was in the 80s even.
Yeah, but early 90s.
Yeah, but I got in the scene around 98-ish when it was really good.
Yeah.
Like when, I don't know if you remember Giant.
How old are you? I was a child in 98. Anyway, go ahead.
Shows my age.
I was like 9 years old. 10, 11.
Giant was like one of the cooler, how do you put it? Like people or companies or whatever I don't even like to use that word company, but you know what I'm saying? Like, like group of guys that put together like really sick parties in LA. Uh-huh. And I just remember, it would just be Giant. And like whenever they threw a party and Giant was attached to it, you're like, "There's gonna be a fucking sick party."
Like Insomniac is now.
And kind of like Insomniac. Exactly right. Man, they've been in the game for a long time. Insomniac. So it goes to show you, like, you know, just sticking around long enough, and now they're an LA institution. Everybody knows Insomniac.
Well, it's also interesting too, like seeing how EDM kind of evolved with that scene. It used to be very underground, very like
right, and that's when I feel like when I was into it, we were kind of like the outcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
So it wasn't like
that's why Plur was a thing, because it was a safe space. Even if whether you were on drugs or not, like it was a safe space where you can kind of go be one with other people and just dance around and be free and no judgment. Yeah, you know, people no that aggression.
They love the music. Yeah. They love the people. Yeah. But I remember when I was in it, there was this feeling of like this, almost like this secret community.
Totally.
You know, even not the underground parties, it still had this feeling of like, you know, we know.
Well, funny enough, as big as EDC is now, you still definitely get that vibe. Like there's thousands of people there and you're like friends, everyone's a friend.
That's cool. I mean, I'm kind of turned off by the really huge festivals because I think at that point it's just too big and too commercial. But I really like I said, the smaller, one of the best parties I went, actually the first time I ever rolled and this is when it was actually MDMA, not this Molly shit, which we both know isn't even it's not even ecstasy. It's stupid.
It's like mixed with everything else.
But yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I remember the best party I'd ever been to. Like, it was one of the best days of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was giant.
Mm-hmm.
And they rented out this space. It's like, and it's still here to this day. It's this crazy looking, like, old hotel.
Yeah.
But it's not a hotel. It's just a space that they rent out.
Here in LA?
Here in LA. It's like in Echo Park or something, like off of Wilshire. And it's this old, like, I got to find out the name of this place because I drove by it once and I was like, oh, fuck, I remember that place. But it is, it's like old Art Deco, like a Gothic.
Oh, cool.
Like a Gothic Art Deco. It looks like something straight out of Batman.
Huh, yeah.
You know, like Gotham City type shit.
Yeah.
Windows are broken. Like, it just looks crazy.
Yeah.
Right? But then when Giant gets a hold of it, like the lights.
Sure.
And like just the energy and like, it's just you hear the boom, boom, boom in the background, you know, you're like, you know what, when you can't wait to get in.
Yes.
And I remember me and my boys, or would it be my boys and I? Me and my boys?
I don't know. My boys and I. My boys and I. Because if you take out the boys, if you say I would, yeah.
Right, or I, okay. So my boys and I.
English.
English, yeah, right. So we took our pills all for the first time, actually, except one of my buddies, but we were all newbies. And we're like, all right, we're in it together.
So you had never done it before?
Never done it before, and we were all in a huddle.
Yeah.
Like, you know, kind of putting our heads together, like the camera's looking up at us type thing. You know?
Yeah.
And we're like, no matter what happens, we got each other's back.
Yeah.
You know, you can feel the nervousness. Your heart's going. You know, never done a hard drug in my life.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Worst thing I'd ever done is weed.
Right.
You know, I'm like, here we go. Let's do it. And apparently the shit that we got is like no fucking joke.
Yeah.
It was like.
Did you feel like the double heart palpitations?
I don't remember that, but nothing like that. But it was one of the most exhilarating and happy moments I've ever felt. And it felt so natural. That's the weird thing. It didn't feel...
It's very clean.
It didn't feel forced. It was just like, this is who I am.
Yeah,
this is how we all should be. And like, no, really. And this thought that came... And it was like...
I'm laughing because it's very true.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, whether it's something in the fucking water or there's something in the food that is like preventing that sensation, which we should feel... Because it wasn't like overwhelming.
No.
It wasn't like, oh, I can't function right now.
I mean, I've gotten to the point where I've been overwhelmed, but... It was a different time when I'd like mixed a bunch of other shit. But if you're just like sticking to one thing and you do it, you know, as you should.
You were telling me, like, didn't you like mix like GHB with like...
Gosh, like, I don't know
with
those
Coke
shit I've done.
And like you were just fucking all over the place.
But those were not raves. That was just in Hollywood.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, life of a Hollywood. Hashtag Hollywood life.
Yeah, that was in my bottle rat days.
And you lived in Hollywood. We were talking about this earlier. You've lived in Hollywood. You've been all over Hollywood.
All over Hollywood.
And I don't mean that like you're a woman of the night, but
I was a bartender.
But you know what I'm saying.
I do. Yeah.
You've lived all over. You know it like the back of your hand.
Yeah.
You know? And when we're driving around today, I was actually impressed. You know how you took that back way to Wilton or whatever. I was like, oh
Wilcox,
shit. Yeah. She Wilcox. She knows the she knows the roads, man. She knows the back roads.
For sure.
Yeah. So hashtag bartender life.
Bartender life. But I mean, it does, for whatever it's worth, like I'm, I guess now officially fully out of the bartender game, but it is nice to have like done my time in that industry because it's all love even when I go out still. Like you saw last night. Like
yeah, man, everyone giving love, like
door guys to bartenders to managers. Yeah, they're like, oh my gosh, like it's like family really. They're like, oh, welcome back, good to see you.
Yeah, and you know it's funny because if you were anyone else or we were anybody else, we would. It's the typical tight velvet rope.
Totally.
Where you know they're gonna give you attitude and then they're gonna be like you're going to have to wait, but we walk up and it's all hugs and kisses. You go straight to the bar. It's free drinks. It's like, that's the way it is, man.
And
that's
even
the life.
Like tonight, we'll see, like we're going to a Breakroom and I've never worked there. I can't wait to like see your face when we get in there. Yeah. I can't wait to see you reacting to the place.
80s, dude. You know me and the music I write, it's all very 80s inspired.
You're going to dig it so hard. And I'm pretty sure there's live music with the DJ, I think.
Oh, that'd be so like 80s covers?
Yes. I think. I mean, I've been there twice, and I don't think it was ever on a weekend, so it might be different. You know what I mean?
And then it's owned by the Houston Brothers.
Houston Brothers, yeah.
And arguably, they have the best bars.
Totally. Their themes are on point. You know, they don't just open a bar to open a bar. Like, they make it different enough so that even if it's across the street from each other, you're getting a different experience.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, Davy Wayne's.
Yeah.
70s.
Yeah. And I love how they do...
It looks like your creepy uncle's den.
For sure.
You know?
And I love that you walk through the fridge. If maybe I just ruined it for someone that hasn't been, but there's an entrance, a cool entrance to 86 also. You'll see. I'm not going to... Yeah.
Yeah, don't... Yeah.
No.
No, it seems like all of their venues, they have... Hold on. Get my earphones out of the way.
Your pretty pink earbuds?
They don't have to know that they're pink.
No, they do.
Yes. Yes, they're pink earbuds.
They're so pretty.
And she has the professional...
They're so pretty.
Steinheiser.
Ow. That was a bit much.
Those are good headphones you got there.
Yeah.
I think you say it that way, right?
Yeah.
Stein.
I don't know. I should have brought mine. I've got one of the ones from school.
You got yours too?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited because like I say, every bar...
Actually, now that I think about it, I should bring mine because I'm not using them.
What?
My other headphones like this so that you can have two.
Yeah, why not? Bring it in. Yeah. And then whenever you need it, come through.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, super stoked. Every bar they have is like a cool...
So I was saying all that to say is like I haven't even worked there, but because I've worked everywhere else, people I know.
It's a small world.
It's such a small world
because bartenders and bottle girls and doormen, like they all kind of move around
for sure. And so like we could have just shown up, you know, and maybe we would have gotten lucky and someone I knew would have been outside, or maybe we would have waited in a line.
But you know, you girls were cute. I mean, they wouldn't have given a shit for that, but you know, at the same time, it wouldn't have been so much love.
For sure.
You know, we would have had to wait instead of like, boom, go to the front. And, you know, that's kind of cool.
It's a good feeling, especially knowing like how much work you, like blood, sweat, and tears you've done for that.
Yeah. But it's the irony is once you get it, you're kind of already over the scene. Like that's how, you know what I mean? I mean, I enjoy a good bar here and there.
Yeah.
But where that is most applicable, like the tight velvet rope, dealing with the dick doorman and the bar.
Like Le Jardin last night.
Is like, you know, stuff that we're just not into.
We get in there, it's like, oh,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's not even like, you know, you hit a certain age and you're over the nightclub.
No.
It's like, no, society in general is like just kind of growing past nightclubs.
I agree.
And I've heard this from SBE, people at SBE.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we believe that the nightclub is dying.
Fully,
and so we're going more towards supper clubs. So like, what's that Mexican place that everyone likes?
What are you talking about?
The Mexican place.
Where?
I think it's in West Hollywood. The really trendy, come on. DJs. It's like a, oh dude, it's going to kill me.
The Abbey?
No. It's like it's literally like a dinner. You eat dinner, but it's like almost clubby. Like the girls wear cute outfits. There's DJs.
What?
Didn't you get a job offer?
Pink Taco?
No. Job offer. What was it? Didn't you get a job offer?
Oh, Toca Madera.
That's Toca Madera.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Got it.
So like they think that that's kind of the trend that people want now.
Yeah.
So people just want to kind of chill, dance if they want to,
craft cocktails, snacks till 2 a.m. Yeah,
not this whole like cram you into a big fucking arena.
Pay $5 million for a bottle you can get for $30.
Yeah, and they're pretty much getting rid of dance floors now in nightclubs anyway. It's now everyone just wants to stand around on their fucking booth.
I know,
and they think that's special. It's like no, back in the day it used to be special because very few people could. Number one, afford to do such a thing, or number two,
now there's so many promo bottles.
now it's like you know it's a dime a dozen.
Totally.
You know, it's so easy to get a bottle now.
If you're a female that knows a promoter, you're like, it's my birthday, I'm gonna bring 20 girls, and then you get like free champagne and free vodka. Done. Like,
you know, when I used to promote. Yeah. I did the same shit, and they would give me a couple comps a night.
Of course.
And like, obviously, you can use it on whoever you want, but we definitely encourage you to bring hot girls.
Absolutely.
And that was the thing. But now, again, it's like, it's a dime a dozen. So I think the whole idea of how that used to be special is gone. And people are kind of like, dude, we like DJs and we like to hear like great music, but we don't like the environment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think when people want to see good DJs, they'd rather go to like, I guess you could say a festival and like catch all the DJs and catch all the acts.
You're fully immersed instead of just like crammed in a club and then you go home. Have you been to Sound in Hollywood?
No, I keep hearing about Sound.
So
it's kind of like the house music venue right now.
Yeah.
Right?
So who did I see there? Fuck, I saw someone recently there and now it's going to bother me. It's bothering me because they weren't as good as I thought they would be and they didn't play like the main song Oh, Cosette. They do the Beam Me Up song. Beam Me Up. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember that one. Yeah.
So I went to see Cosette thinking it was going to be like awesome. The venue was awesome, but they weren't awesome. Like they sounded good, but they didn't play. They played like weird shit that I've never heard. Like it wasn't their vibe that I was looking for. But all that to say, the venue was cool. They've got like crazy speakers. I guess like some of the best speakers in the world I heard, like all over, like walls everywhere. Cool enough lights. Like you're not going to be tripping your balls off like just from the lights, but it's enough. And it's only a few booth tables. It's kind of small, but the whole middle like dance floor, like people are actually dancing. Like they were like interacting with each other. I was like, oh man, like I think that this is what it was meant to be, you know?
Right.
Not like what Greystone was. Not there's anything wrong, Greystone.
No, there's anything wrong with that.
It's closed now, so we can say that.
Yeah, we could talk about it.
Yeah.
Did you hear a big slam?
It was the chair.
That was you. Okay. I was like, what the fuck? Hold that thought. I'm just gonna run to the bathroom.
1 or 2. I'm kidding. Number 3. I feel like I'm in a little like closet.
Well, yeah, you're in a vocal booth.
All right, 6 o'clock. I've got an alarm for 6:25 for you to start the lamb.
Yeah, so this will be like a shorter episode. So we'll make it sweet and interesting.
You can always do it again, drunk at 2 a.m.
We can continue it. Yeah. So this is us regular. And then we're going to come back. It would be interesting to hear how we sound after an Above and Beyond concert plus Breakroom 86.
Breakroom 86.
And right now we're just getting started. I mean, you're just having a little tequila.
A little bit, yeah.
But nothing crazy.
Nah, the Michelada just kind of evened me out from the drinking yesterday. That definitely didn't give me a buzz.
I really liked what we did earlier. That was cool. Like we kind of like, okay, we'll do the podcast, but before we do that, let's just fucking grub on like the best shit.
Yeah.
And we go to Jons. Not Vons, but Jons.
And it's not Kmart, I'm telling you.
Which you turned me on to because I thought it would be barefoot and pregnant women just running around.
The first time you went, you're like, Kelly, it's Kmart. I was so, not offended, but like jokingly offended. You're like, no, look at the lights. This is fucking Kmart. I was like,
yeah.
It's not Kmart.
I have this weird childhood trauma with Kmart, and I never ever
I don't like Kmart either. Like,
into a Kmart ever in my life.
I grew up in Front Royal, Virginia. Like, I don't like Kmart. I don't want any of that. It creeps me out. There's one in Van Nuys, and I went in once because I needed like tights or something before work and everything was closed, and it was weird. Like you just feel like the heebie-jeebies.
You know what it is? It just resembles poverty to me, and I don't like to be a part of that.
Right,
whatever that is, like it just feels. It feels like when you go. One time, I've been to a 99-cent store. One time, so that's it, and I will never go back again. It's just that feeling.
99. I definitely get what you're saying with the 99-cent store, but there's a Dollar King near my place.
Oh God,
that's awesome.
Do prostitutes hang out in front of there too?
No, don't hate on my hood. But the Dollar King, like it's clean. It's new. It's like a new chain, so like it's almost like a Target dollar store. Like I get my lashes there. They have a whole like beauty aisle. They have a whole arts and crafts aisle. Like that place is bomb.
You are a Latina chick.
Oh my God.
Hey. Do the thing.
What thing?
Do your Latina accent.
I can't just like.
You haven't had enough tequila yet.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll put the bangs on you. The big hoop earrings.
I can't.
The lip liner.
Oh God. Right. Yeah.
And we'll get you ready. Yeah. So you are Salvadorian.
Yes, half.
Half. What's the other half?
Whitina.
What? You're a Whitina?
Whitina.
I like that. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, my mom's side is mixed also, so like who knows?
Yeah.
I also recently found out that my dad's side has Lebanese in it too.
Oh.
I'm kind of all over the place.
Shit. Yeah, you're a mutt.
Yeah, I'm a mutt.
It's good. Yeah. You know, they say that, the mixture of like genes like that is really good.
Totally. So, it's a stronger, it makes you stronger.
Yeah.
That's why purebred dogs like always have these health issues. Yeah. So.
But yeah, so we had this meal, went to Jons, which you turned me on to because they have so much cool, like it's like I didn't know it was an international spot. I thought it was just a knockoff
on
Vons because it's literally the same logo.
Yeah.
Instead of the V.
It's like the same font.
and if people listen to this and they're not from California, because I don't think Vons exists much outside of California.
There's like Ralph's.
I never saw them on the East Coast. So
no. Kroger's on the East Coast.
Vons is kind of like a, not a high end, but it's kind of like, one of your.
It's like a Ralph's or a Kroger. A little bit nicer than a Kroger.
Yeah.
If you're East
or a Gelson's or a Fairway. Like it's kind of like a higher, mid to high level brand for grocery stores.
Yeah.
And whenever I saw Jons, I always thought this is a fucking ghetto knockoff of Vons. And because I always see the one in Hollywood that's like this, in a ghetto corner.
No, they closed that one down. That's a Sprouts now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
The gentrification of Hollywood is happening.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get another Whole Foods.
I love Sprouts, though.
Yeah. I haven't really been to Sprouts. I think I went once.
It's my favorite because it's like Whole Foods items with Trader Joe's prices.
Okay.
I'm obsessed with it. But anyway, so you're all this to say you're at Jons. There's all these. So we're looking for tomato juice to make this michelada, and we're going up and down every aisle. Can't find it. Finally asked some guy. He's like, oh, it's on aisle 2. Aisle 2 has its own like labeling. It says international juices. Like why?
So they had four or five different just tomato juices alone. And they were all from a different country. Yeah. So there was Polish tomato juice,
Russian, like
I'm
sure
Bulgarian,
there's one in Spanish,
Actually, they were all from like Eastern European.
Yeah,
Europe,
they were
right?
like Slavic countries.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyway, so there were like 5 different brands of tomato, and we're like, like the Carl's Jr. commercials back in the day. Without us, some guys would starve. You know what I'm saying? Because we're like sitting there reading all the labels because we're health people.
We're trying to make sure there's no MSG in it.
And every single one of them was like ingredients. Yeah, tomato juice, salt. Period. Fuck off. Right. And then it would have it in like some fucking crazy Arabic language, and then it
would have it translated in like 5 different languages, which is kind of cool.
And so we were looking at every single one had the same ingredient listing, and finally we went for V8.
It didn't have MSG in it though.
It didn't have MSG.
But it did have the celery salt. That was the deal breaker. That was the kicker for me.
So here's the thing that really pisses me off about food labeling.
What really grinds your gears?
What grinds my gears is that we all know about MSG, and most people would say, fuck it, I don't want it. It's bad.
Yeah.
Okay. But they fucking hide that shit. So sometimes they'll be blatant. Remember that tomato juice, that Bloody Mary mix that we looked at?
Straight up.
Like the third ingredient. First ingredient was like...
high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, it was like water,
high fructose
corn syrup, and then MSG. And I'm like, and there were like a paragraph
and
of ingredients.
And then 5 more ingredients, then there's tomato.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Same with Clamato.
But we were talking like how, people, especially like maybe a lot of these internationals that aren't really hip to what's going on.
Internationals?
That's a politically correct way of saying
Is it?
The Mexicans that go in there. Your people.
I'm not Mexican.
I know. I always have to fuck with you. So they come in and they probably have no fucking idea.
Yeah.
And they drink that shit every day because it tastes good.
Sure. I mean, I bet it does.
Goddamn, Clamato tastes good.
Yeah.
But when you start reading, dude, there is more MSG in Clamato than clam juice, which is what it's named after because it has clam juice in it, right?
What's boggling to me is like, why?
Why? What?
Like, why have something so far off from the natural product? Like,
why can't you just make just give me...
Like, there are natural preservatives. I understand,
give me a real
the shelf
Clamato.
life. Yeah. But, like, why have the first 2 ingredients of something be high fructose corn syrup and MSG?
Especially when it's in a vacuum... Yeah. It's in a vacuum sealed glass container. Yeah. How is it? You don't need... I don't understand.
I think this is super conspiracy theory. I think they're mind controlling everyone with it.
Well, at least they're telling you what's in it.
Yeah, but they don't know it's like making you brain dead.
Yeah, man. So, anyway, so that was a fun little thing. So, we go and we get carne asada. So we ended up doing like this cool Mexican paleo thing. Yeah. So we did this thing with sweet potatoes, lime, and cumin, which really sounded weird to me. Mm-hmm. But we did it, and
I told you.
I was like, holy shit, this is like the way to eat sweet potatoes.
Totally.
Sweet potato, cumin, lime, salt.
Boom.
So it's like, because, sometimes they're just too sweet for me, and I'm a savory guy. Yeah. So I don't really, when I'm hungry, I don't want to eat sweet shit.
Sure.
And even though I know sweet potatoes are really good for me, I'm like, dude, I just really want a regular white potato, which, by the way, they're not the same species. That's a whole other argument, but sweet potatoes are so much better for you. And
could you hear me burp on the mic?
I heard you burp. I'm going to enhance that burp. I'm actually going to put reverb on the burp.
Oh, finally, I get my goddamn reverb.
Yeah. Can you get your reverb?
Can I get some reverb?
So anyway, so we have this cool paleo feast, and that's the cool thing about it is like, you know a lot about paleo. Most people do not.
Yeah.
And we both agree that it's like a very ideal way to eat.
Yeah. I feel like it's easy to do. Like, it's really not hard. I think for most people, probably the hardest thing would be to cut out dairy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually finally to the point where I used to be obsessed with cheese. Any kind of cheese.
Oh, my God. Cheese is crack.
Like cracker cheese, wine cheese, cottage cheese, anything. Now I'm to the point where, like, I don't even really like having yogurt anymore. I used to love non-fat Greek yogurt. I would use it on, like, soups, like sour cream, like everything all the time. I don't know. It's making me feel off lately.
Yeah.
So finally I'm able to, like, mostly cut out dairy. But yeah, I think that's the hardest part. And I've never drank regular milk anyway. It's all
and you know what I find is the further along in your health journey that you go, and you start cutting things out that have been staples that you felt you couldn't live without.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised. I mean, I'm not saying to you, but kind of more to the audience. You'd be surprised how quickly you kind of lose the taste.
For sure.
Or the craving.
Yeah.
And it's almost like whenever I'm doing really good and then I have an In-N-Out burger, right? Just randomly. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I don't know why I flocked to but the funny thing is if I have it again, like the next day, then it's like, okay, now it's like you're slapping your arm.
Sure.
You're like, okay, now you're starting to get the taste.
I feel like
it's like like having it begets more of wanting it. And there's something weird because again, it's not like that first bite. You're like, oh my God, I haven't had this in months. Oh my God. I remember thinking like, I was like disappointed. I'm like,
that's kind of how I got back into beef. Like, I was pescatarian for 2-3 years.
Right.
Pretty strictly too. And then
pesca meaning fish as your protein.
Yeah.
Okay. But so, pretty much vegetarian.
Mostly vegetarian, but I just couldn't ever cut out sushi or salmon. Like, my body actually craved it. And I was trying to be very, like, aware. Like, I didn't want to cut something out that I felt like I really needed. Because I tried going vegan, vegetarian before, just out of curiosity.
I think everybody in LA has at one point. I even did.
Yeah. And I mean, just because of, just for interest. So that's how I even, like, heard or tried paleo first, because I just love food and I wanted to try all the different ways of eating. I tried the fruit bat diet, which was retarded. I hate saying that. Can we scratch that from the record?
Okay, fine. I'll bleep it out, right?
Yeah. I don't like to use that word. It's not cool. It's not a cool word to say. Don't do that, people.
Don't do it.
Anyway, it was not a good way of eating for me in particular. I think some people feel like they can thrive off of it, but
and the thing is every body is different.
Right.
Okay. So you have to kind of like know, but I'll tell you one thing. Nowhere except for maybe 1 or 2 tribes that I'm aware of are actually full-on vegetarian.
Sure. Yeah.
And none.
Like, if they are,
none are vegan.
Out of poverty, but once they find an animal to kill,
it's out of famine. But the whole argument is you have to look at what are you most adapted to. Right. And as a human species, we all are adapted to eating meat because if that's the kill, or if that's what we're bringing home for dinner, trust me, if you just have berries, but you have these fucking wild animals running around, you're gonna eat the fucking animals. And you bring that shit,
especially before we learned how to cook the beans and rice. Like
exactly, because as I've learned the hard way, you really have to be careful with beans because they will make you fucking sicker than you could ever imagine. It was some of the worst pain. I thought I was gonna have to go to the hospital.
I'm sorry.
Because I ate undercooked lentils.
Yeah.
And I literally felt like I might actually die because I was fucking shivering.
Oh,
and you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like it wasn't like it's just like I'm gonna throw up.
No,
it was like I felt like throwing up for 2 days.
Yeah.
And I had the shivers and the cold. It was like a flu.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, "What the fuck?" And it goes to show you, like, before we learned how to really cook the shit out of those things, like, did we really? And then you also have to look at the logistics of it. Look how small legumes are. Okay, what you're gonna spend all day to gather a bowl of them, you're going to share that with the tribe.
Right.
Like, if we ate, which we did eat legumes and we did eat grain.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, it was in such small quantity.
Right.
Because logistically, it was impossible to have the amount that we have now because agriculture allows for the unnatural quantities
mass production
that we have of a lot of these foods.
No one was eating a whole bowl of beans and rice. It was maybe a little teeny bit.
It would be a little teeny bit. Your staples would have been the things that were easy to get and that were more higher in quantity, like tubers, which is basically potatoes.
Yeah.
Or meat.
The
things,
greens, the vegetable, veggies.
roots, all that stuff, berries, not in huge quantities, but you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. This is why I've always been curious about the blood type diet too.
Yeah.
I don't know my blood type. I want to find out. But I mean, if you think about it, like I was able to feel like I was thriving being a pescatarian. I only brought back beef because last winter I got super anemic. I was like, one of my servers when I was managing at a place dropped a wine book on my foot, and it nearly felt like it almost bursted. Like my foot started to bruise immediately. Like I bruise easily as it is, but it was severe. And I was like, okay,
so
something's
you
off.
might actually be slightly anemic.
Oh, for sure I am.
Yeah.
For sure. Because my mom was, and it's just like, for sure I am. So, and I didn't really notice it in the summer because it was so hot. But once it started to get cold, I was like severely cold. Like everything I was feeling was extreme. And I was like, okay, something's off in my body. And then I started to kind of crave like, not just beef, but like fatty beef. So like short rib or like beef stew. Like I wanted like the fat and like shredded. I don't know. It was really bizarre. So I just started eating. I was like, fine. Like I'm just going to listen to my body. If I want it, I'll have it. And I just ate more and more beef, but kind of like the In-N-Out thing. The first bite, I was like, whatever. But then after that, I would start craving it more and more and more and more. And now, I mean, I'll have it like, obviously I had the steak today. Like, I'll have it if I want it, but I don't, like, seek it out, really. Like, I don't buy it at home. Like,
and that could, again, it could be, I haven't really looked so much into the blood type thing, but it really could come down to that's sort of your genetic line.
Right. So maybe my ancestors were fishermen, and I lived off of you kale and salmon.
Right. But again, as a species, you're going to have kind of like this overall sharing of diet. So like as a whole, I don't care if you're African, if you're Salvadorian, if you're white, like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But like, whatever you are, like at the end of the day, it comes down to hunting and gathering. And that would be, you're trying to replicate that. So if you can actually sort of pinpoint what your bloodline is, maybe you can do a little research and find out, like me, if I'm Spanish from Spain, then
that's why I love pork.
That's right, man. So, it comes down to things like that. But the other thing is, shit, I forgot what I was going to say. But what were you going to say?
I just lost my shit. Oh, I was going to say too, like maybe that explains why I really don't care for poultry anymore. Like I'm totally cool with fish or beef, but like,
I've never been a huge fan of poultry.
I used to love chicken until I cut it out. And now it just, I don't, even if I get like a pasture raised, whatever, organic, blah, 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 fed chicken, it tastes and smells funny to me. Like it's like
and that's fine. And that's your body. So
and I'm like, I don't want it at all. It doesn't even, the only time it smells appetizing is when it's like fried chicken, but it's just the batter.
Yeah, that's just the batter. But, I remember what I was going to say now. So I think it comes down to, shit, I just forgot again. What the fuck?
God damn it. Chicken, poultry, blood type.
Okay, yeah. So cravings is a really interesting thing because if I just tell you, listen to your body, and if your body craves something, give that to your body, right? You can't really just follow that exactly because it's true. It's partially true when I say that because you have to sort of modify it and say cravings are there for a reason, and cravings is your body saying, I need this nutrient or I need this whatever. Your body knows.
Yeah.
But within the landscape of modern food, we've fucked with the craving. So whereas maybe I'm craving something sweet. So if we're out in the wild or if we're eating traditionally and I've never had cake or I've never had chocolate, I'm going to eat fruit.
Yeah.
And that's going to satisfy that craving. And that's why I crave sweet, because my body's probably like, hey, you need a little more fructose in your blood, or you need whatever's in bananas.
Well, right after dinner, I was like, I don't know if you heard me, you were washing dishes, but I was like, oh man, like I'm craving a piece of chocolate. And so instead I just had some of the cherries that I got, and it was cool.
Right. So the thing is because we've sort of, as they say, it's very akin to a drug addiction. It's like once you've had heroin, you will always crave heroin for the rest of your life.
I've never had heroin.
Because because you've had a taste for it.
Yeah.
And so now you know what that tastes like. You will always crave it, even though it's unnatural. So that's what's happened with food.
For sure.
Is cake is the food version of heroin.
Yeah.
Because nothing in that cake is good, but your body has had it. And it's basically like this crazy, dense, sugary thing where it's sort of taking the natural craving of like, gee, I just want a banana to you're going to fucking gorge on this chocolate cake.
Man, now I want a piece of cake.
So that's what I'm saying. So I think if you listen to your cravings within the framework of, again, I keep saying this, what did we have?
Yeah.
So if you limit your cravings to that, then if you're craving something sweet, instead of reaching for cake, that's your body saying, just give me something sweet. So what would that be? What is naturally sweet? Well, fruit. So then eat fruit.
Yeah.
Or if you're craving, something salty, instead of reaching for nachos or Doritos or something, you should reach for, I don't know, what's naturally salty, or maybe just beef jerky or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like something that's like, you just want the salt, then eat salt. Eat something that's salty.
Are olives paleo?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, olive oil is too. Olives are, to my understanding, a fruit.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because we had an olive tree in my house.
And we've had olives for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And usually we have them, the way that they're cured and whatnot. I don't know if that technically makes them fermented. I'm not 100% on it. But olives are quite good. Yeah.
But, I mean, the cravings do make same reason I was craving like fatty beef in the winter if I was super anemic. Like my body's like alert.
Yeah, and within the confines of something of the natural of what's available to us naturally, again, we're trying to recreate hunter-gatherer. But if you can try to recreate specifically your lineage.
So what does it mean when I crave tequila?
That's a good fucking question.
I can't say I've ever craved tequila, to be completely honest. Like, I'll joke, like, oh man, I really want to go have a drink, or I just want a shot of tequila, jokingly. But I've never actually like physically craved tequila.
Yeah, you know what? I occasionally. I think that would be
alcoholism. I think that.
Well, yeah, again, that's the drug aspect.
Yeah.
It's not like it has whatever nutrient. Maybe there's something in the agave. Who fucking knows?
Yeah.
But there's better ways to go about it than that. But we do have a long history with alcohol.
Yeah.
And I believe even before we were eating grain, at least in the quantities that we actually had already been brewing beer.
For sure, yeah.
We didn't distill, so we didn't have hard liquor. But
beer and wine, though.
But we had beer and wine. So sometimes I actually crave beer. And once in a blue moon, I'll crave a glass of wine. Like specifically that flavor. Like I'll crave it.
If I ever crave, like, oh man, I really want a glass of wine, it's never a white or a rosé. It's like a dark, deep, like earthy, like very bold red.
I see what you mean. And when you think about it, beer specifically, because grapes are not bad to eat, so I'm not going to speak of wine, but because that grain is destructive, you go out and eat a bowl of raw wheat berries, and you tell me what happens to you. You're going to turn into what I turned into the other month when I had those legumes. You're going to be fucking in the hospital, you know. But beer can be thought of as a superior form of the way in ingesting that grain, because it's think about it, it's fermented.
Well, yeah, the other day we were talking about the fermented grain bread, right?
Yeah.
It's something, the way the fermentation breaks down the grain so that we can actually process it.
Right, and we're not talking
absorb
about
the nutrients in the grain.
Yeah, right, and we're not talking about shitty baker's yeast. We're talking about actual wild fermentation where you have multiple species going at it and therefore completely breaking, and it's a slower process. And so because we haven't sped it up like we do with yeast, when you do it naturally with wild fermentation,
that'd be a fun project.
No, exactly. And again,
I'm not a great baker, but that'd be a fun challenge.
Right. Well, I'm not a like, hey, grain is the devil. No, I'm not like one of those guys, but I'm like, if you're going to have grain, that's how you fucking eat grain.
Right.
You have it in that form.
I wish it were easier to find.
And you eat it in small quantities.
Yeah.
You don't have it every fucking day as a state, like with every meal like we do today.
Well, like the modern breakfast is ridiculous.
It's
like
ridiculous.
No one needs pancakes and eggs and sausage and toast. And
if I have that breakfast, I'm literally going to go right back to bed.
Sure.
And be like, I'll start my day in a couple hours.
Yeah. Well, because you're not going to plow a farm at 4 a.m. after eating that. You know what I mean? Even the people that were doing that, I don't think they were having all of that.
Having grain in the morning is probably one of the worst things you can start your day with.
So this is something that I'm really curious to ask this nutritionist, which I told you we had to cancel that appointment. My boss is going to see a nutritionist, and I get to sit in on it. But anyway, when he gets back in town, we're setting up those appointments again. And so I'm curious because he keeps saying like, oh, because I was kind of like venting about my fitness frustrations, how I feel like I keep plateauing and like I'm not really making any progress, but it's really only been 5 weeks, so whatever. But he's like, oh, like you should really first thing in the morning have a bowl of oatmeal. And I don't know if it's just like my body in particular. I know my mom's this way as well. Like we can't have heavy breakfasts. Like I don't crave heavy breakfast. The only time I crave a heavy breakfast is when I'm hungover and I wake up at 2 p.m. But then that's not even breakfast really. Like if I had a bowl of oatmeal when I first woke up, I would just feel like dragging.
Yeah.
Like one hard-boiled egg, maybe a banana, and I'm
there's
out the door.
nothing appetizing about oatmeal to me. Absolutely nothing appetizing.
Sometimes I'll have like a hankering for it, like because I think it's this cafe I used to work at in Nashville had bomb oatmeal. It was super like thick, like stick to your bones. So in the winter it was great. When it was freezing outside, just put a little bit of brown sugar, some raisins, boom.
It's funny because boom,
some milk or some almond milk.
It's funny how once in a while I do kind of hear what I would call a Southern accent creep out
from me.
From you.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, like once in a while,
in there, yeah.
It'll probably be more apparent when you hear this.
Yeah.
And you're not talking; you're just listening to yourself talk.
Sure.
Because when you talk, once in a while, especially in these earphones,
yeah,
I can hear a little bit of twang. And it could be when you're out in Nashville, right?
Well, and I grew up in Virginia.
Virginia's kind of
well, so my childhood was split between Maryland and Virginia, but the part of Virginia that I was in is very rural.
Right.
Yeah. But I've had different people tell me, this is why it's so bizarre to hear myself talk, because I've had people say like, oh, are you from Canada? I'm like, why? I don't know. I don't hear any Canadian thing, but I have noticed lately, sometimes if I say out or about, like it's.
Oh, like that out, like the way they do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just moved around enough as a kid that I just heard so many ways of speaking. And
everyone has their own tinge on where they're from, of course.
I'm also pretty impressionable. So like the more I drink too, if I'm around anyone that has a strong like dialect, is that the correct word? Dialect?
I think so.
Yeah. Then I'll kind of pick up on it. And I think that just has to do with the whole ear thing. Yeah.
I'm like that too. If I hang around, guys that have any sort of accent, I will start emulating a slight version of that accent.
So funny story, one of my Hollywood stories. One time I was drunk enough, I decided I was going to be Australian the whole night. And I fully went with it, like from getting into the Uber on the way out through the whole bar. I made up a name. I don't remember what name.
So you were sure also not the tip, right?
Oh, come on. My Aussie friends tip. They know better.
This is an ongoing thing, like an ongoing joke with the podcast.
Like Aussies know better, but Brits don't really know better yet. I'm gonna get some backlash for that.
I feel like I need to I love the name of the podcast, and we lightheartedly kind of go along with Future E.D.O. because it's almost such a ridiculous name, but it's really cool.
It's
you know
catchy.
what I'm saying?
It's just catchy, and the fact that it makes people be like, "What is that?" Then that's good.
And I think the logo splash screen that I'm going to use when I publish all these is going to be like a very like remember the folders like from the 1980s, like when you went to school, and it would be
Trapper Keepers.
There would be like a chrome unicorn on like a grid, and shit, like a planet floating in the background.
100%.
Lightning.
Before Lisa Frank, but I know what you're talking about.
That's the kind of style that I'm going to go with.
That's awesome.
But what I'm saying is I think I should almost like have an AKA or at least another name for this podcast, because
a working title.
I should call it like either the struggling artist, because everyone that I have on is like not necessarily struggling. Actually, like Colin the other day, he's actually quite successful as an actor, my friend Colin.
But even if you're a successful artist, you're always a struggling artist.
But it's like but everybody that I've had on is like the full on kind of LA, I came out here to be an actor. I came out here to be a musician. I bartend, but this is what I do. And that's kind of the story that you have as well, because you came out here initially to sing, right?
No.
You didn't come out here specifically for that?
No.
Wasn't that what Nashville was for then?
No, I mean, so I came out here in middle school. My mom's job transferred her to Fontana. Mm-hmm. So that's when I came out to California in general. And then Fontana was terrible. So I was get me out of Dodge. So I just moved to the city. I didn't come here to act or sing or anything. I mean, I did all those things in school, and I can do them. And my mom's in the film industry, and she always tries to push me to do audition for things. But it's just not, like, acting's not a passion of mine. If anything, I would get back into, like, musical theater. That was a passion.
I could see you doing that.
Yeah.
But I know just from you messing around when we hang out is, like, you'll sing, and I'll hear you singing, like, holy shit, you're good. And then that song that you played me, which you did as a project, was good.
Yeah.
So you have a good voice, like a very good voice, especially for EDM, because you have
and
that
I've always wanted to like really like lend my voice to EDM, especially because I love
that's what I'm
EDM
saying.
music.
Like on that very mic in which you're speaking on, like I think you and I should. I'll make not an EDM track, but I'll make like a cool sort of future beat style or like a melodic trap kind of thing, like almost like the song that I play that you'll hear the song that I play for this podcast.
Yeah,
I'll make something like that, and I would love to get your take on it. Because
only if I can get some reverb.
you'll get your fucking reverb probably.
On that note, it's 6:28.
Yeah.
We gotta go to the show.
Yeah, we gotta go to the show soon. Let's do like 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Because we're good on time.
Okay.
I don't think it'll take us like half an hour to get down there.
Probably not.
So we gotta go to the Hollywood Bowl, and I think
there's gonna be traffic, but it's fine.
There will be traffic, but I say it'll take us 20 minutes.
Okay.
But we'll give it 30.
All right.
Okay. So I want to hear before we go my favorite story that you have. Your LA gun story. I've got to hear it.
Oh, which one?
You got to tell us.
I have two.
You have two.
The one in front of my apartment or the one at the bar? And I'm gonna try to not say the bar's name just so
you can say the bar's name and I will remove it because I don't want to tarnish it because it's a great fucking bar and we have mutual friends that actually work there. So
I actually took down I posted that night and
you took it down.
He was like, "Can you please say?" I was like, "Yeah, you're right."
Yeah, you don't want to tarnish.
Yeah, because people still are like that's their livelihood still, and I don't.
And it could have happened
anywhere,
any place. But tell me about that story because I think it's fucking insane. And
the bar one.
The bar one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the bar one, I was actually, so it's funny. I left bartending like a year or so ago and went to management. Ugh, dreaded management. I never wanted to manage. Anyway, so I left this previous management job. I was kind of just like fucking around, not knowing what I wanted to get back into. I didn't want to I turned down the Toca Madera job. I didn't want to work for them. And a mutual friend of ours was like, well, I need someone fast. Like, I need someone for these weekend nights. I was like, ugh, I don't want to do it because I was collecting unemployment. I was like, I don't want to, like, get on the books somewhere if it's not going to be, at least that much, if not more. And he's like, well, I can't guarantee that, but I can keep you off the books for a little bit. So I was like, perfect, fine. Cash in hand. Anyway.
Yeah, we're definitely going to bleep this one out.
Anyway, that didn't happen, IRS. So anyway, I start picking up shifts. Everyone's super awesome. Like, everyone that worked there was, like, super welcoming. And, like, with any new bar gig, you kind of have to, like, get your bearings, relearn muscle memory with anything you do, right? So pretty busy, pretty normal. Lights go up. We're all wiping down our wells, wiping down the bottles. The bar manager goes around and collects all of our cash tips and our banks and is counting everything down on the bar. Now, mind you, at this point, security had already left, which I don't know why is a thing. It's not even just this bar. Like, it happens across the board in LA bars.
You would think that they would stay the whole time to at least walk the girls to their fucking cars.
The only venue that's ever done that is Sayers Club. Like, I love Torrance and all the security guys there because they would wait till the very, very end. They would make sure we all got to our car safe. But I swear, out of all the bazillion other places I've bartended in LA, like, no one else does it. Like, they lock up, make sure everyone's out, and then they peace out, and it's just the bar with all their money and the bartenders. When
they're pretty much almost needed most is when there isn't people around. Right. Because even if shit goes down, like, other people will step in.
Of course.
I mean, yes, you need security during when there's a rush. I get it. But let's be honest, when the bartenders are alone and there's a lot of money.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. So anyway, we're counting down everything. Thankfully, they had already counted down. So, like, we knew to $1 how much was there on the bar. And a bar back goes out the back door to take out some trash, and someone follows behind him in a hoodie and a bandana over his face with a gun to his head. And he, like, walks in the back. And then this is all, like, we don't know this yet because we're still in the front, like, wiping shit down. And then we see this guy come in with a gun to our barback's head, and the poor little dishwasher girl, like this little, like, Hispanic girl, like, terrified, this poor thing. And at first we think it's a joke, because, like, you don't register things like that immediately. You're just kind of like, it's shock, really. Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? Who's fucking with us right now, right? And the guy says, everyone put your hands up, like, phones on the bar. He makes us all go to one side of the bar, I thought he was going to steal our phones. So I was like, God, please don't steal my phone. Thankfully, he didn't, which was probably smart on his part. And I'm sure this is why he didn't. He didn't want us to have our phones in hand so we couldn't call the cops. But he wasn't taking the phones because then they're traceable.
Right.
So anyway, so we put phones on the bar, makes us turn around. But I could kind of see there's, like, mirrors on the back bar. So I could kind of see. But mind you, this is now the second time I've had a gun in my face, so I'm now going into full shock panic attack. I don't even want to look at the guy.
You're like, here we go again.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like the first time it happened, I was in shock and I fought back and I was like, oh, I'm like, whoa. And then I was kind of shaken. This immediately, I was like, fuck. And I was like, it's so much different too to have a gun to your face as opposed to your ribs, which is what had happened the first time. Anyway, all that to say, I was like, I had like my head down. I was like, let me not give this dude a single reason to even look at me. Don't look at my face. Don't, nothing. Like, don't drag me out, nothing. Like, don't even acknowledge that I'm here. So I was just trying to be as like invisible as possible. He takes all the cash on the bar. And this guy, he didn't even have a bag. He's like shoving it in his pockets. And I'm like, what? He's got to have a car outside somewhere, like a getaway guy. I don't know. So he takes all the money on the bar, puts it in his pockets, and then he makes all of us single file. He gets the bar manager. He has now the gun to his back. He says, okay, we're going to the office. And he makes him walk up front and all of us, and he's like walking up behind of us. And mind you, the office is teeny. Mm-hmm. And we're all crammed in there, and he tells him, and this is what was interesting. The guy's like, give me all the cash from the safe, even the daily deposits. Give me all your drops. So like he knew industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't know industry, you don't know about daily drops. You don't know about deposits like that. You just think there's money in a safe. Mm-hmm. So he knew. And the manager was like, well, like, we've been short for, like, we're down for the week. So, like, this is really all I have.
You know, for all you know, he could have been an ex-employee.
You never know.
You know?
He could have been ex-security, ex-employee.
And how he knew to come through the back.
Or,
right. That
exactly.
was
Of course. Well, because the front's locked. Like, and he knows that the bartender's going to go to the back for the trash.
Right.
Or they scope a place enough and they can tell, you know, if he had any industry job ever, he would know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So he did that. And then finally, once he like got the cash from the safe in the office, then he left. And then it was just kind of like shaken up from there. The cops got there pretty quickly. But the thing is like, the guy and whoever, like, they could have gotten a car and been long gone by then. Like, mm-hmm. And it doesn't even matter if we remembered what he was wearing, because you just take the sweater off and you take the mask. He's not going to walk around with a bandana on his face, you know?
So
like,
after that, you threw in the towel, right? You said, I'm out.
That was it for me, because it was already, like, I didn't really want to. I was doing it as a favor and just for some, like, extra pocket change, you know? And it was to the point where I was like, okay, like, I was starting to think maybe I'll just like come here full time, like get back into it again for real. But I was like kind of torn about it.
Yeah.
And that was definitely, the universe was like, nope, no more.
Making the decision.
For sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I just, it was hard because the bar manager is a really good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And so I just kept thinking like, I really hope no one tries to be a fucking hero. Cause like he's married to one of my best friends and he has a baby at home.
Well, we both know the guy that was managing, and he's a really cool friend of ours, really awesome guy. But we know he's the kind of guy that if he was single and he did not have a kid, he would have been like, he would have pulled some shit on him.
100%. And he and I spoke after. He's like, you know me, Cal, like I really wanted to do shit, but all I kept thinking about was my son's face. I was like, 100%.
And that's so crazy, because it goes to show you that, you know, when people do have kids and they do it's like, they're not thinking of themselves anymore.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
And if he was he is the kind of guy that I could see him even cracking jokes.
For sure.
With the guy.
For sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Just to piss him off.
Yeah. You
know, with his real, he has that real dry, real sarcastic.
Yeah.
Kind of personality. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. And I just kept thinking too, like, because I had I left a job managing a bar, and I was that person counting down all the cash, and I was, you know, they left me without security, and someone could have easily came in, and I don't know, I mean, I'm sure I would have handled it, but like, if that were me with all my staff and all that cash, and it happened under I just couldn't. So I honestly, I don't even want to work a job. Like, someone's like, oh, we're at a coffee shop. I was like, I don't want to handle cash.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be working somewhere where someone can come and rob me of cash. And so now my job is very safe.
No, I mean, that's a crazy story. When you told me about it, I was in disbelief. I was like,
Did you text me that night?
I think I did. I heard, or it was.
I posted it.
Somebody posted on Facebook. I did, and then immediately I texted you and I said, "Are you okay?" Yeah. Because like that shit's.
And you know, then we all were. I was way more shaken up than I had been the first time something like that had happened to me. And I was kind of calming down. One of the other bar backs, he's like, do you want a Xanax? And I had never taken Xanax or anything before in my life. But it got to the point where I was nauseous. Like, I could not breathe. I was about to have an asthma attack. So I took one, kind of calmed me a little bit. But then by the time the cops got to me to take my statement, Johnny, I couldn't form sentences. Like, I was stuttering. Like, I was literally, like, it just wrecked me completely.
Yeah. You were in some kind of a shock.
I was. And I felt like It's hard too because the cops are looking at you like, well, you know. I was like, I really hope they don't think that I'm drunk or whatever, because I didn't even drink that night, to be honest. You know, I didn't even take like a bartender's mid-shift shot. You know.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I felt like I was guilty and I didn't do anything. Like,
yeah, no, I get
you know,
it. Yeah.
It was so nerve-wracking. Like,
yeah, that's crazy, man.
But yeah, that was it for me. As a never again.
You know, even though LA, it's going through a lot of gentrification in a lot of different neighborhoods. At the end of the day, man, LA is.
And this was in West Hollywood.
It's a tough fucking crowd, man.
Like West Hollywood of all places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this wasn't some bar in Van Nuys or North Hollywood or nothing. Like WeHo.
Yeah, you can't take that shit for granted, though. No. You know what I mean? Like, even when I leave late night, I try to keep, you know, aware of what's going on. Because you realize, like, dude, like, I've seen, like, drunk-ass people just walking by themselves, and I'm like...
And that used to be me. When I lived on Whitley, on Hollywood Boulevard, I used to drunk-ass walk from Piano Bar
that's
home.
Retarded,
like,
and especially you being, like, a hot chick, you know?
Dude, yeah.
And you're a target. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And...
Not to toot my own horn, but
I'll see these guys and I'll say to myself, dude, if I was like this kind of, if I was like a douchebag, if I was basically like a fucking thief, I would go to that motherfucker and rob him blind, and he wouldn't remember shit.
Nah.
Just maybe knock him out, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like you see these people walking around like fucking zombies at 2:30 in the morning.
Yep.
And
girls falling over in their heels and their dresses. It's so
fucking unbelievable.
Dangerous.
Man. Yeah.
And again, that comes from no judgment, because I was that girl many times. And I think back and I was like, fuck, I got so lucky. I was lucky enough that even the other time. So the first time I got held up at gunpoint was in front of my apartment. And the biggest lesson I learned from that was never or always have a free hand. Because I had pepper spray, but it was useless because it was hanging off my keys, hanging off my hand that my phone was in. And I had a cup of something on the other hand.
Gotcha.
So I was going to work.
Nothing you could have done. Although you know, we won't get into the story because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
But
I'll try and tell that story at 2:30.
But true or false, you chased the motherfucker down.
I did. I chased him down the street. I grabbed I almost jumped in the car. It was a different kind of shock. It was adrenaline.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm gonna get this fucker. Like, it was so different.
And he had a gun and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a gun, but again, he didn't have it to my face. He snuck up behind me and had it to my ribs. Mm-hmm. Also...
So there must be something much less intimidating about that,
He was more scared of me than I was of him. He also didn't even ask for my purse. He was like, give me your phone. He only wanted my phone. And I was like, you're high. You asked for the wrong thing, dude.
Yeah. And so next thing you know, Kelly's running after this fucking
I hit
thief.
him in the face. I hit him, and then that's when he grabbed my bag.
Uh-huh.
He never got my phone. I hit him in the face. He grabbed my purse. He started running. And I had a split second of like, nah. And I just start running in my bar clothes, shouting down DeLongpre, he's got our gun. He's stolen my purse. And people are outside looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, hello, can you help?
Yeah.
And he comes over this hill, and we see his getaway car, and he tries to jump in. This poor fucker, I shouldn't say poor fucker, he robbed me. He's like, oh, like literally like afraid that I was crazy lady chasing after him. I grabbed his backpack, and I almost like lunge into the car.
Oh shit.
And now him and the driver are like, oh, like, what is happening?
Who's this crazy Latina chick?
And I finally have a moment of clarity of like, maybe don't do that. Maybe don't get in the car with the two strange men with potentially a gun. Or no, he for sure had a gun. I, for some reason, thought it was fake at the time because I feel like since I've shot 2 guns in my life and I'm an expert, I don't know.
Hollywood life, Kel. Hollywood life.
Hollywood life.
You know, there is one thing about this town is it will harden you up a little bit. You know, it's, you know how they say New York's a tough town?
Yeah.
You know, which is true.
Yeah.
But LA has its own kind of hardening.
I felt safer walking around Manhattan late at night than I ever did do in Hollywood.
I don't feel 100%. Well, not that you should ever be 100%, but you get what I'm saying. I don't feel as safe walking the neighborhoods out here at nighttime than I did in New York, because New York is designed for it. Yeah. And you're around a lot of people.
I was going to say that. And people, like, I feel like in New York, if something happened, people would do shit.
Absolutely.
Whereas in LA, like, no one wants to get involved.
Yeah.
I don't know. Also,
yeah, well, you know, exactly.
But now I live in Van Nuys. Gang Nuys. Gang Nuys is supposed to be...
You're getting out of Van Nuys anyways. You're getting out of the valley. And you want to come back. You want to come back to the basin.
The basin?
Yeah. So you know they call LA like south of the mountain.
Okay.
Is the basin.
Oh. Yeah.
And the valley's the valley.
Yeah. Well, but here's the thing. Like, yeah, there's gang violence and hookers on the corner, but because of that, no one's breaking into apartments. No one's breaking into cars. You know what I mean?
It's a different kind of violence. It doesn't affect you.
Yes. Yeah. And because they're not trying to draw attention to their other things, you know, like they don't want the cops coming around messing with their girls in the corner, you know, because some fucker's trying to break into a car for a wallet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that sense, I feel safer. I'm not going to go walk around at night, you know, but.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, I feel safer walking around in Hollywood at nighttime than I do your neighborhood.
You feel safer in Hollywood than Van Nuys?
Hollywood than I do in Van Nuys.
Well, yeah. But yes, for sure. Like, I mean, don't be stupid. Like, I'm not going to walk around, even as safe as I am in my apartment, I'm not going to go walk around my neighborhood in Van Nuys at night. Right. Because then you're a target. You know what I mean? They're like, of course they're going to fuck with you if you're out there.
Well, technically, Kel, you are still a Valley girl.
I'm not. I'm no. I've lived there a couple years. I'm not a Valley girl. But I can, like, act like it. My mom's favorite thing to say, and I guess it's some from a movie in the 80s, like, gag me with a spoon. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was, I don't know. I don't remember. It could have been Clueless. No, it wasn't Clueless.
Was it before that?
Yeah. I love Clueless, and I know for sure it's not Clueless.
Well, Kel, let's wrap it up so we can catch this awesome concert. And maybe if we have it in us, we'll come back and I'll keep the setup.
Okay, yeah.
And we can come back and fuck around drunk on the podcast, and you can hear like
careful what you record there.
You can hear the before and the after, and you just witness the deterioration right before your very eyes. Yes. Anyway, so Kel, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. You look lovely as ever, and we're gonna have a blast.
Even without the bangs?
Even without the bangs.
That's saying a lot. Thank you.
Bangs.
Thanks. We'll tell that story later.
Bangs. All right, we'll tell later. All right, so we are out.